What is going on YouTube and four-wheel drive fans? It's Andreas here from Symmetry four-wheel drive. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video it's quite exciting. What we are doing is introducing my new car and a new car to the channel. The 1997 Nissan GQ Y60 Patrol is currently up for sale, and we are going to be saying goodbye to that very soon. And it breaks my heart. I really loved the car, but there were a couple reasons that maybe I'll do a separate video on why we were selling the Patrol and why we have this new car that's behind me here. The weather isn't fantastic today. It's been raining on and off constantly. It's quite windy, so I hope there isn't too much wind noise on the video. But I mean, we'll take a look around the car just anyway. It might rain a little bit. The car does have water all over it, maybe a bit of mud, but you know, we'll still get a good idea of what the car is like. What I'm going to do is run you through what the vehicle is, some of the specs on it, what its current state is, so that we can sort of look at a baseline of the vehicle, and then from there I'll take you through the whole build process and how we change and modify this vehicle to suit our needs better. So the car in question is a 1996 build date, registered first in 1997, LandCruiser 80 Series GX trim level 1HZ 4.2 non-turbo diesel. So this is the base model LandCruiser 80 Series, and that is the GX trim. So what we have is locking hubs on the front axles that we have to manually lock to set up four-wheel drive, where the other LandCruiser trim levels and variations had a permanent all-wheel drive system. And this also means we didn't get a sunroof and fancy leather seats and all of those sort of things. But with all of that being said, I wanted the car to be kind of as basic as possible, because it's going to be used off-road, on tough tracks, on tough trips, all of that. So getting the top fancier spec level didn't really matter to me. I was more interested and more concerned on finding a really solid, well looked after and good condition vehicle, as opposed to finding the best possible trim level and all of those sorts of things. And the reason that we went with the 1HZ 4.2 liter normally aspirated diesel engine was firstly fuel economy. This is quite a fuel efficient engine for the size of the vehicle and the capacity of the engine, and it's also quite a simple engine, very little electronics, and a very bush proof engine, you know. And there's also no turbochargers to worry about and extra heat and things like that. Yes, it's not the most powerful or best performing engine, but I think its reliability makes up for those shortcomings, as well as being, you know, regarded as one of Toyota's best engines in terms of its longevity and, you know, its lifespan. I must say that this 1HZ in this 80 Series LandCruiser, my 80 Series LandCruiser, is a very healthy example and feels really tight and pulls nicely. I mean, we are here in Cape Town, down at sea level, so that definitely helps the normally aspirated diesel. But so far I have no complaints in terms of performance. Yes, it could be faster, more powerful, but it does everything that I need it to do so far. And we'll just see how that goes once we add more weight and bigger tires and things like that to the car, and see how that affects the performance. But for the moment I have no complaints, and if anything arises where the car starts to feel a bit more sluggish, we can always do a ring and pinion re-gear on the axles and, you know, just bring that power back to where it should be if we're running bigger tires and more weight and things like that, just to make the gearing a bit more peppy to help out that normally aspirated diesel. Also, being a GX model and, you know, not spec'd to the nines and all of that, there are no locking differentials in the car other than the transfer case center lock, but there are no lockers either on the rear axle or the front axle, and there's no LSD either, so there isn't any sort of traction aid on the car or anything like that. It is just solid axle, good articulation, and no lockers or LSDs whatsoever, but hopefully that will change through my ownership with the car. So the car is currently on 376,000 kilometers. That's the chassis and the engine itself, and you know, that's not low for these cars but not high either. It's sort of in between as expected for a car of this age, and the car, I think, wears its miles very well. It is in very good condition, and you know, everything feels good and healthy. I mean, you can find lower mileage examples, but to me, with this engine, the 1HZ, and how the chassis presented itself, I really wasn't concerned with that 376,000 kilometers on the car. It, you know, it feels really good, and that is nothing for a platform like this. They can easily go to 1,000,000 kilometers, no problem whatsoever. So that is not a concern of mine at all, and for the age and mileage, I think the car is fantastic. The car does come with a couple little extras that the previous owners over the years have put on, which I think are little added bonuses to the whole package that I purchased. So starting off at the front, one of the added extras is this custom made bumper or bull bar, and although it is probably, you know, no offense to whoever made it, but it's probably one of the ugliest bars I have ever seen on any 4x4. It really is a function over form item, and it is very stout and very strong, but in terms of aesthetics on what I think is a very good looking 4x4, it really doesn't add much to its appearance. And yes, it is rather ugly, rather unsightly. We also have a plastic snorkel. I haven't been able to see any branding on it, so I don't know what that is, but it looks like it's been fitted decently, and you know, it's an added benefit to have for water crossings, for cleaner air, all of those sorts of things that a snorkel is used for. Then moving on to the side of the vehicle, we have an Easy On 2000 freestanding awning that is attached to a steel roof rack that is quite a large item that's on the roof, and you know, I will look at changing that at some point possibly, but you know, for the moment it will serve its purpose fine. It's just quite a heavy roof rack. But yes, we have the Easy On awning and this large roof rack, as well as a small light bar on the front there. Also, I forgot to mention there are two spotlights on the front ugly bar. Then moving around to the back of the car, we have a custom made spare wheel carrier that is attached to the OEM bumper. And then moving into the inside, we have a outback drawer system, and that is really cool and really useful, and I will probably refurbish it at some point, but it's a nice size, has a lot of utility and good storage, and I'm quite happy that the car came with that. Then also on the interior, we have a full sound system with JBL speakers in the front doors and the the rear doors, and then also an upgraded head unit and a subwoofer in one of the drawers of the drawer system. And yeah, we can just have a look here a bit at the interior condition of the car. I think it wears its age pretty well. At some point, the previous owners had changed or recovered the seats from its original fabric to a canvas type fabric, and I'm sure from a functional perspective that's quite a good thing, but aesthetically it really doesn't look that great, and it's something that I look forward to changing. I think first up will be a good set of seat covers, and that will cover up these canvas covered seats. So in terms of performance modifications on the car, there's nothing really other than a 2-inch lift that is all the way back from 2007 or 2008. So that's about 15 years old, and that is an old man Emu shock and spring 2-inch lift kit with a steering damper as well. And you know, I'm sure that this has sagged quite a bit over time. The car doesn't ride too bad, but you can definitely feel that an upgrade in shocks and springs would be welcome. So I think that about wraps up our introduction to our new LandCruiser 80 series, and we are so excited to have this as the feature car on our channel, and we are going to be doing such awesome stuff with the vehicle and to the vehicle. So we're going to take you along that whole process of building it up and kitting it out with all of what I think will be the best products to turn it into my dream rig, as well as working with some cool new companies hopefully. So you know, there should be some cool collaborations coming up in the future. So stay tuned for some very exciting content coming up soon, and there has been a bit of a break in our previous content, but now we're going to be going full steam ahead, so stay tuned for that. As always, any likes, subscribes, views, anything like that are much appreciated, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content on this 80 series build, and until then, we will see you again soon. Cheers.